Basic, right, correct form of verb rules with examples. You can learn the rules of using the correct form of verbs through this content. Remember that if you do not know the correct rules of using verbs, then you will not be able to write or speak correctly. So to be able to write and speak English correctly, you must know the correct forms of India. Let's get started. What is the correct form of verb? What form of verb is to be used in English sentences? The right form of verbs is to determine whether the present form, past form, or past participle form of the verb is used. The rules according to which the right form of the verb is determined are called the right form of verb rules. Right form of verb rules for HSC and SSC. Generally, the questions on the right form of verb in secondary school certificate, SSC, and higher secondary certificate, HSC, exams are not different. If you study each topic carefully in this discussion, I believe you will know almost everything you need. Because the rule of the right form of a verb is the same for any class. Maybe an exam asks relatively simple questions. Again, some difficult questions may be asked in some exams. Whatever the question is, if you know all the subjects of right form of verb, I hope there will be no problem to answer, inshallah. I think the way the correct form of verb rules is discussed in this content will be helpful for any level of reader. Rules of correct form of verb. Right form and verb, i.e. right form of verb equals correct form of verb. All the rules that have to be followed to determine the correct form of that verb are discussed below. Rule 1. If the subject of the English sentence is third-person singular number, then s or es should be added to the main verb of the sentence while forming the present indefinite tense. He eats mango. Rana reads a book. He dances. Rule 2. While converting the sentence of present indefinite tense into a negative sentence, even if the subject is third-person singular number, if does not has to be used. Then s or es is not added to the main verb of the sentence. Affirmative equals she goes to college. Negative equals she doesn't go to college. Affirmative equals he lives here. Negative equals he does not live here. Rule 3. If the English sentence contains the words ago, yesterday, last week, last year, last month, a day before yesterday, etc., and the time of execution is past tense, then the past form of the verb must be used. In this case, while reading the Bengali sentence, it seems like the present tense, but the verb will be in the past form when forming the English sentence. That is, the sentence will be in past indefinite tense. Mother came home yesterday. He bought the book last month. Rule 4. If a task is running for a long time, then for should be used if such meaning is revealed. And if it means that the action has been going on since a certain moment in the past, then since should be used. And the verb that will be used in this case will be present perfect continuous tense. He has been working for 2 hours. He has been reading in this college since 2020. Rule 5. If two English clauses are joined by the since clause and in that case, the verb of the clause in front of since is present indefinite or present perfect tense, then the verb of the next clause of since will be of past indefinite tense. 5 years have passed since he left the college. 3 days have passed away since she died. Rule 6. When since is used as an adverb in an English sentence, it does not join any clause. Then no noun or noun equivalent is used after since. Since is used alone in this case and expresses since equals ago. I saw her long since. He did the job long since. Rule 7. In the case of past indefinite tense, if the English sentence is an affirmative sentence, then the verb of the sentence will be of the past form. And if the English sentence is a negative sentence, then did not sit before the verb of the sentence and the main verb will be present form. Affirmative equals I ate an orange. Negative equals I did not eat an orange. Affirmative equals he danced. Negative equals he did not dance. Rule 8. In the case of present continuous tense, if the subject is first person singular, the auxiliary verb will be am. If the second person singular and plural, the auxiliary verb will be are. And if the third person singular, the auxiliary verb will be is, then ing is added to the main verb. I am writing content. You are reading this content. He is walking in the field. Rule 9, in the case of present perfect continuous tense, if the subject is first person, the auxiliary verb will be have been. If it is second person, the auxiliary verb will be have been. And if it is third person singular, the auxiliary verb will be has been, then ing will be added to the main verb. I have been reading for 6 minutes. You have been reading for 9 minutes. He has been reading for 10 minutes. Rule 10, in the case of past continuous tense, if the subject is first person singular, the auxiliary verb will be was. If the second person is singular, the auxiliary verb will be were. And if the third person is singular, the auxiliary verb will be was, then ing will be added to the main verb. Besides, if the subject and any person are plural, the auxiliary verb will be were. I was eating mango. We were eating mango. You were doing the job. He was reading the news. Rule 11, in the case of past perfect continuous tense, if the subject is first person, second person, and third person singular or plural, the auxiliary verb will be had been. And then ing will be added to the main verb. I had been doing the job. You had been drinking a glass of water. He had been reading the book. Rule 12, in the case of future continuous tense, if the subject is first person, second person, and third person singular or plural, the auxiliary verb will be or shall be. And then ing will be added to the main verb. I will be doing my duty. You will be playing the game. He will be walking. Rule 13. In the case of future perfect continuous tense, if the subject is first person, second person, and third person singular or plural, the auxiliary verb will have been or shall have been. And then ing is added to the main verb. I will have been writing the content. You will have been eating food. He will have been reading the story. Rule 14, if an action of irregular habit in past tense is indicated, i.e. used, would, ate, went, etc., before the verb would is used. She wanted to swim in the river, irregular. But would cannot be used to denote regular practice. Then the verb will be past indefinite tense. He worked in the company, regular. Rule 15, to express a possibility of past tense, would have is followed by the past participle of the verb. If he had not helped me, I would have failed in the job. Rule 16, to express a certain assumption that an action has happened in the past, must have is followed by the past participle of the verb to form a sentence. He didn't go to the office, he must have been ill. Rule 17, when writing a wishful sentence, may is placed before the subject and the base form of the original verb must be used. May she be happy. May Allah bless him. Rule 18, if an action is to be taken to fulfill a purpose, before the verb expressing that purpose, may is used in the present tense and might in the past tense. I eat that I may live. Equals I eat that I may live. He was studying hard so that he could pass the exam. Equals he studied hard so that he might pass the exam. Rule 19, if two clauses are connected by as though, as if the verb of the first clause is present tense, then the verb of the next clause will be of past indefinite tense. She talks as though, equals as if, she were, was not, mad. He behaves as if he owned the market. Rule 20, no sooner had followed by past indefinite tense. No sooner had I reached the bus stand than the bus left. Rule 21, scarcely had is followed by past indefinite tense. Scarcely had I reached the bus stand than the bus left. Rule 22, hardly had is followed by past indefinite tense. Hardly had I reached the bus stop then the bus left. Rule 23, when two clauses are joined by before if the verb of the previous clause is in the future tense, then the tense of the verb of the next clause will be in the present indefinite tense. She will come before her sister comes. He will complete the lesson before he leaves the college. Rule 24, when two clauses are joined by after, if the verb of the previous clause is present tense or future tense, then the tense of the verb of the next clause will be present perfect tense. Attic will swim after he has changed his dress. I will go to college after I have completed my study. Rule 25, in passive voice, the main verb will always be a past participle and be preceded by a be verb, am, is, are, was, were, be, etc. Active voice, I eat a banana. Passive voice, a banana is eaten by me. Active voice, she will write a travel story. Passive voice, a travel story be written by her. Rule 26, past perfect tense is used before before. The lady had died before the doctor came. Rule 27, after is followed by past perfect tense. The lady died after the doctor had come. Rule 28, the English sentence is in the future perfect tense to express the assumption that an action has been completed in the present. He might have reached Dhaka by now. Rule 29, if you join two clauses with the help of lest, should be placed before the verb of the last clause. The negative form of the last clause verb cannot be used. Work hard lest you should fail the exam. Go fast lest you should miss the bus. Rule 30, the English sentence will be in the present indefinite tense when describing eternal facts. The sun rises in the east. The sun sets in the west. Rule 31, if any English sentence contains the words daily, generally, today, always, often, every day, nowadays, regularly, occasionally, sometimes, every time, etc., then the verb form of that English sentence will be the base form or present form. She takes the meal 3 times daily. Alamullah goes to the madrasa every day. Rule 32, if there are words such as at this moment, gradually, now, day by day, etc. in the English sentence, then the form of the verb in that English sentence will be, v plus ing, that is. The sentence should be written in the present continuous tense. At this moment, Kabir is swimming. What is she reading now? Rule 33, if the English sentence contains the words already, just now, never, recently, ever, lately, yet, perhaps, etc., then that English sentence should be written in the present perfect tense. I have just taken a cup of coffee. She has gone just now. Rule 34, if two nouns connected by and in English sentences do not refer to the same person or object, then if two nouns are connected by and, the verb in the English sentence will be plural. Rakib and Shakib are going to school. You and I are reading the content. Rule 35, if two nouns are connected by and refer to the same person or object, then if the two nouns are connected by and, the verb in the English sentence will be singular. Kareem, chairman and headmaster, is coming to us. One thing to note here is that the person named Kareem is simultaneously the chairman elected by the people and the head teacher of an educational institution. So the verb of the sentence is used singularly. Final words for correct form of verb rules. It is very important to use the correct form of the verb in English sentences. Hope this discussion entitled Right Form of Verb Rules will be helpful for your knowledge. Moreover, the rules of the right form of verbs discussed above will help you to answer all the questions that are asked in any academic or non-academic exam, inshallah. This content may also change with time. So after watching the video, if possible, when you can see the complete content once, then you will know everything. Thank you very much.